Hello book lovers and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins and today I'm talking to Dr. Venkat Kumaresan. Dr. Venkat Kumaresan is an enterprising leader and a management coach in a leadership role at a global business process automation company. Venkat practices a leadership perspective that is strikingly distinct. This leadership perspective is widely valued, celebrated and remembered by his team for many years. He sees his team members as his own children and mentors them all through their life. Venkat's debut as an author is a life guidebook on this leadership perspective, Father of Your Team. Hi Venkat, first of all welcome and thank you for coming on Book Talk Radio Club.
Thank you, Claire. Zillion thanks to all the listeners who made time to tune into this interview.
Father of Your Team was born from a single sentence uttered by a 30-year-old team lead in a boardroom meeting. The sentence being, I can hold him for my lifetime. What was your question?
Yes. In fact, I had asked two questions, Claire. The background is that was a project which demanded stretched hours for a few months. So I wanted to ask a question and prove a point to my team that if my team is to take something up passionately, they can hold on to an increased workload longer. So my question was, if you want to lift something that weighs 15 kilograms, how long will you be able to hold it on? After getting some arithmetic answers like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, etc., I asked a follow-up question. What if that 15 kilograms that I asked you to hold is your child? My team knew that it was a loaded question. Even then, I was getting numeric responses like 30 minutes, more than 1 hour, etc. Those were better than what was before. Just then, that team leader gave me the response, I can hold him for lifetime.
Right.
So that response made me think, like, what if the manager assumes he is a parent? How can this belief system change the behavior of the manager? How can it help his team members? What kind of difference it can make to their relationship? How can it change the organization and lives if each manager thinks of himself as a father of his team member? Exactly. And is it possible for the manager to be remembered and stay connected for a lifetime with his team? And what difference can it make? So after a few days of thought, I decided to try being a father manager, Claire. So that's the significance of the question and the response.
You practice a leadership perspective that is strikingly distinct. How so? You say you treat your team members as your children. So can you just go a little bit more into that?
Yeah, that's true. I see my team as my children. I desire to see them living their life in a fulfilling way. Organizational reporting relationship changes don't affect that bonding, Claire. The bonding that I have with them. So I have been staying connected and will be connected with them for their lifetime.
That's wonderful. Well, so why do so many managers, leaders fail at their role then? Is it because they don't do this?
I don't know, frankly, if it's many, but I see many leaders failing when they have a lesser degree of influence with their teams. As you know, Brad, the industry is at an inflection point where higher level of influence is demanded.
Right.
If someone requires 25 people in copy in an email to get work done from one person, he is not a leader. When business expands for an industrialist who manages one company today and he is to manage 20 companies across the world tomorrow, the influence of leadership is to be higher. When on the contrary, even if the business and the survival are challenged, the influence of leadership has to be far higher.
Right.
As I quote in my book, leadership is not racing ahead of others. Leadership is carrying ahead of others.
Why father of your team and not mother? I think there may be some people that will take issue with your book title.
Okay. That's a tricky question, Claire. Thankfully, I'm fairly prepared to handle it because this question came to me a few months ago from my college friend in the UK, a very sharp and a soft-spoken lady. Well, there is an adage that says the mother exposes the child to the world, the father exposes the world to the child. So, who enables your knowledge by spending on it and identifying the school you go is your father. Now, mothers too do that role, but if you are a woman, you would become a motherly father manager, combining love with knowledge. So, father here is just a placeholder for a leader who is eternally seeking welfare of his colleagues with boundless warmth and energy. It's just an analogy with the father that just fits here, Claire. Like, father of your team refers to story of a leader whose value is better realized after the team moves on and as years go by. So
Right.
this characteristic of children realizing the value late applies better to a father than a mother. Beyond this, I would like to place that father manager is a gender neutral term.
Right.
I'm certain that the worldwide readers will come to this conclusion when they enjoy this book, in totality. Because father of your team has a story-styled narrative. You have Martha, a woman who adopts the perspective of father manager in the story. Like, actor is a gender-neutral word today, right?
Right. Right.
So I'm very happy that you asked this smart question and gave me an opportunity to clarify before this book hits the stand, Claire. Lastly,
Your dedication at the front of your book says, and I quote, "To my team who have shown me that relationships are beyond roles." What does this mean?
Well, father of your team is impossible without the experience gathered from my teams. They have been exceptionally great individuals. I'm well connected with most of my team members who were part of my team as far as 17 years ago. Their roles have changed. My role has changed. The relationship and bonding is just the same. In many cities that I travel to, Claire, I have someone eager to see me, spend time with me, and invite me home.
Right.
They have been my team members in a formal organization chart before.
Yeah.
You will find a model, which is the 8 natural stages of leadership and father of your team.
Right.
So this depiction was created by the CEO of an industrial robotics company who extensively travels abroad. He did it personally. He didn't delegate. He mailed it at 8:20 a.m. before he left for work on that day.
Right.
I found that model to be very good and used it in my draft in my book.
Right.
In the next 2 days, that CEO sent 5 more variants of the model and asked me to choose. How would a CEO take time and make time to do such a fine artwork? He was my team member 4 years before.
Right. You talk about these 8 natural stages of leadership in your book. Can you name them, please?
Yes. So the first stage is a blind spot stage. So that's the stage where the father manager truly understands the value of the relationship because he thinks in long term. The new team member who comes into the fold need not understand such a relationship. Like when a child is born, the father would have some feelings towards the child. The child would just want merely some comfort at that stage. So that's the blind spot stage where one person realizes, the other person doesn't realize.
Right.
So the second stage is a reciprocation stage where the child responds, it starts to reciprocate. So that also holds good in a typical setup within an organization where slowly the team member starts to understand and reciprocates but doesn't know it fully. And the third stage is an initial realization stage where the child values the care when it comes to a father and then begins to understand the relationship. So that happens with the team member and the father manager in the third stage. That's the initial realization stage.
Right.
Then the entitlement stage, awakening stage, stage 6 is differentiation stage where, during adolescence, children would compare their father with others. So this is a differentiation stage where, the team members would see some distinct differences when they move on to other teams from the father manager. Then stage 7 is on-demand stage where, the support from the father manager is not required much. When the child goes on to a college, the child wouldn't feel a need to, connect with the father on a daily basis. So it may be just on a need basis. So that's the on-demand stage, and this holds good, when the team members graduate to a level or move on to a different team and all that. And stage 8 is the outgrow stage, which is the final stage where the child outgrows the father. So it's a very, it's a stage of where there is a high level of pride associated with the father manager. There are some team members who have outgrown me. I have CEOs of telecom company, a CEO of industrial robotics, a founder of a career consulting firm, etc. In fact, one of the guests of honor for my book release function is my team member who had outgrown me, and he is a highly successful entrepreneur today.
You ask, how is your life measured? By age, wealth, or your position? What is the answer?
Well, it's like a answer for a multiple choice question in examination. When you have an option D, which is none of the above, it cannot be one of the above. In the perspective of this book, it's none of the above. Life is measured by relationships that are made and how long you are remembered. That's the perspective.
There are many leaders out there that are remembered. You say this because of the legacy they leave. But what is that legacy?
I would like to quote something from the first chapter of my book here.
Sure.
Claire.
Okay.
Achievements of the past that don't give contentment to a leader today are meaningless and irrelevant. The richest reward life can give you in the long term is contentment. The richest reward for a leader is leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
I would say legacy is the trace and impact of that remains when the leader is no longer formally in charge of the team.
Yeah.
The best impact the leader can leave is transforming the mindset and potential of the team through trust and influence.
Yeah.
The father manager in father of your team leaves a legacy, which is tremendously different from the legacy that you would come across in many of the industry case studies.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Belief system influences the leadership style. Can you explain that, please?
Yes, Claire. It is the belief system that influences the leadership style. Styles are something that are outwardly seen. They are inwardly driven by the belief systems. Like, as you know, most leadership theories classify leadership by the outer layer, which is the style, rather than the core belief system that drives it. When the core makes a minor shift, the change in the outer layer can be seen immediately. It's like the larger gear wheel that makes one rotation, making the smaller wheel accelerate faster. It's as simple as that. So when the belief system changes, you need not worry about the style. So father of your team brings in a powerful and practical belief system. It can be adopted with a relative ease. I'll tell you why. Each of the stages of the natural leadership will end with differentiating characteristics of a father manager that make up this belief system. So there is no abstractness in it. This way, every reader will see the nuts and bolts of the father manager belief system.
Right. I understand. You have a living prototype across this book called Freddie. Who is Freddie and what is his purpose in your book?
Okay. Claire, I believe it is easier to deliver a new concept through a storytelling style.
Yes.
So, Freddie is the personification of the father manager. He's little different from a typical manager that people come across in their organizations. He is fun-loving, caring, wants to spend more time with his team. He is a firm believer in lifetime relationship with his team, and he plays a role in elevating his team to the levels that they could not believe. I found Freddie to be a kind of a catchy name to anchor around, and I got very fixated with that name. Freddie to me sounds like a combination of father and daddy, isn't it? So this name was a suggestion from my copy editor, Venkatesh. So what happens to Freddie years after he left his organization? What does he do now? What changes happen in the lives of his team members? Do they remember him? Where are they now? The first chapter starts with a sweet flashback, and the knots unfold beautifully in the rest of the chapters.
Right. Venkat, was there one particular person that inspired and encouraged you to write Father of Your Team?
To be very, very frank and honest, writing a book was not my dream. It was never my dream. It was my team members' dream. About 4 years ago, I brought a lot of books to office and I was taking notes hurriedly. I had a very short notice to deliver an opening address for an event. Arun Kumar Pandian, who now works for SPA Global, was in my team then. So he saw the book spread on my table and asked me rather innocently if I am writing a book. I told him no. He asked me at least twice or thrice, why don't you write? I didn't take it seriously then. I didn't know that his aspiration has started to slowly sink into my mind. But it worked magic eventually. Somehow I couldn't sleep well that night. When the author in me woke up, the alarm button could be snoozed, but the author refused to get snoozed. So I sent him a message early that morning that I'm going to write a book. I'm very grateful for him for sowing the seed and interest in me. I nicknamed him Arnold. So as a mark of gratitude, the opening dialogue in the first chapter in Father of Your Team is from a character in the story named Arnold. So this happened 4 years ago, Claire. I started writing in 2015 and stopped writing sooner after some 40 pages, and then I abandoned it. I had reasons like book writing taking my time away from what I could spend with my daughters.
Sure.
There was one person who kept on meeting me and asking me at least 5 to 6 times every year, making me feel guilty of dropping the idea of authoring. That was my peer, who is heading the learning and development in my organization, Emily Thomas.
Right.
So I have used her last name for one of the powerful women in the story. So then this book took this kind of a form through the right guru. I took up an author entrepreneurship workshop with the Indian guru of authoring, Mr. Raja Singho. And so many people from school friends, college friends, and my team encouraged and supported me. I'll tell you something very recent, Claire. It's just yesterday that the back cover of my book was being finalized. I was very happy with it. And I shared the back cover image with my team members on WhatsApp group. They overwhelmed me by giving 8 recommendations for change as soon as I posted it to my group. They were not happy with it, even though I was okay with it. I was awed at the nuances that they knew and the justifications they offered. So my team still continues to be, my book still continues to be my team members' dream. Again, when I say my team, I refer to team members who are no longer part of my formal organization.
Has writing Father of Your Team changed you in any way?
Yes. In fact, this book made me stay away from what I like and get closer to what I don't like. Okay. Since childhood, I had an aversion towards geography. Once a new geography teacher entered our classroom when I was in grade 8, she wrote the word desert on the blackboard. I had a small halo effect of a 18 watts LED lamp around my head. So she asked me, what is geography? I told her, well, geography is a dry subject, like the desert. Okay, and, she was not happy with that mischievous response. I enjoyed my higher secondary days because geography was no longer relevant. But for my book, I had to get into geography. Because the story setting is in San Francisco, which I visited, more than, 15, 16 years ago. So I had to Google and come out with the team outing venues, names of churches in the neighborhood, department stores, coffee shop, etc. And, as a person, humor comes very naturally to me. So I had to tone down on that. Many times my copy editor said, no, if you use humor in this conversation, it won't fly. You will not be taken seriously. So you had to trim it. So, yes, of course, I had to compromise on something which I did not like. And, of course, so that kind of a thing had changed me.
Right. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of books out there on leadership. Can you just give me a short sentence why managers, executives should buy Father of Your Team rather than any of the others?
Okay. So, Claire, by this time you may have realized that short sentences are difficult and challenging for me.
I have realized that, yes.
well, I can say, most leadership books are written by popular motivational speakers or by heads of organizations. They are written by people who have reached the peak years ago. This book is not like that. This book is written by a person who is trekking today and seeing the changes in the terrain, challenges, fear, changing chemistry, what discomforts people, seeing adaptation with the millennials, what works and what doesn't work with them.
Right.
Obviously, Father of Your Team has a different viewpoint. So, I'm a humorist. So, this leadership book has an element of another USP. Coming back to the short sentence that you had asked for, why managers to execs would love to buy Father of Your Team, to be, I would say, to be loved, celebrated, cherished by their teams, and lead a life full of contentment. That would be the short sentence.
I love that sentence. That hits it right, the nail on the head.
Thank you. I like your strategy of getting me to close the response faster.
Lastly, what is the publication date of your book and where can people buy it?
Father of Your Team is going to be published on a day which is special to someone who is very close to me. So this person has been known as one of the earliest ghostwriters in the publishing history. The way this ghostwriter wrote it, it transcended a gripping novel to the status of a widely respected evergreen epic in India. So that ghostwriter is the Lord Ganesha. Father of Your Team is going to be published on Ganesha Chaturthi, a festival which is widely celebrated for Lord Ganesha's birthday. So that's the 2nd of September. So the ebook and paperback versions will be available on Amazon from the 2nd of September. Okay.
And where can people buy them? Buy it. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, they can buy them from Amazon. And I'm also working with distributors network who have a wider reach across the globe.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. That was just great, Venkat. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club again. I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future. And thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thank you very much, Venkat.
Thank you, Blair. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Bye now.